A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find its pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning, and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day. This is a special episode in a series of podcasts based on Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. For several years now, I have gone back to the habits taught in this book to prepare for the coming year and home in closer and closer to my lifelong dream and my goals so that I could more effectively achieve my goals. Year after year, we hear people joking about setting New Year's resolutions and then abandoning them by February. Personally, I don't find that very funny. I hope that your resolutions are more important to you than to give them up after only a month or two. What if you were to set 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most resolutions or goals for 2024, and then at the end of 2024, find that you nailed each one of them? You can. I set 2 goals that to me were very large. As I talk about in the Motivational Devotional, I had to change and grow to become more than I was in order to achieve those goals. As I say this now, I have done that. I changed. I grew. I achieved. Starting with the November 27, 2023 podcast and running through the New Year's Eve podcast, this series offers 35 episodes of principles, inspiration, and motivation that I use toward fulfilling my own lifelong dream. I have audacious goals for 2024, but only 3, because more than that will water down your efforts. I will achieve mine by this time next year. You can do the same. And I hope you will pursue yours with relentless intent. If you find these helpful, please go to the Motivational Devotional Facebook page and let me know. For now, let's get on with it. Some of us may remember the days when it was a big deal for a computer program to be Wysiwig. I don't even hear that term anymore because everything is now Wysiwig and we don't have to worry about it. It is spelled W-Y-S-I-W-I-G, Wysiwig, and it stands for what you see is what you get. Before computers got to the point that they are now, they didn't have the capability of showing on the screen what would print, and you had to select your fonts and formatting and then print to see what you were going to get, and then make adjustments and print again until you got it right. Sounds like a pain in the butt, doesn't it? Well, that was a far cry better than the days when everything was dot matrix and you had to have a printer that would scream this high-pitched noise while those tiny pieces the size of the dots per inch hammered into an actual carbon ribbon to print your letter, which looked like a computer barfed it out. We have really come a long way to get to the point that the little thing that you hold in your hand can wirelessly deliver something to your printer, and what you get is what you see. Everything now is Wysiwig. You know, people have been on this planet a lot longer than devices and printers, but it seems that the longer we go, the less Wysiwig human beings become. Me personally, I try my best to be Wysiwig because I don't want people to wonder what I really meant when I said something. And if I give someone a compliment, I'm not just saying something insincere to make them feel better. I don't dish out empty things like that. With me, what you see is what you get. With the one exception that I was raised that if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And I mostly still practice that. There are times that the truth still needs to be said, but we can say something that isn't nice in a kind way. Well, that's another podcast another time. It does seem that we live in an era when fancy footwork and smooth talking can get a person out of any jam, and we have also seen in the last few years the exact opposite, where false claims have been made against people to erode their character, and depending on what we paid attention to, what we saw was definitely not what we were getting. by standing up for people who were marginalized or disenfranchised. I suffered the same thing in my past. But that's where your integrity really matters, and you just keep moving forward, knowing that you are who you are, and knowing that a winner is a winner inside first, which requires being a Wysiwig person. The rhetoric going on around us is just static on the channel. There's an old book that is still a classic and a worthwhile read by author Dale Carnegie titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. One drawback to this book is that you can master every single thing in that book without actually being the person everyone sees. As long as no one really got to know the real you, that would be okay, I guess. But as Zig Ziglar said a long time ago, you cannot behave consistently in a manner that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. Eventually, it comes to light. As the old saying goes, the truth will out. Carnegie did offer some great ways to let your true nature help a person be their best self, with concepts like you can't gather honey if you kick over the beehive, and the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it, even though the language is now a little dated. If you can get past that, the ideas in the book can change your life. One great spiritual truth, and by that I mean an archetypal, fundamental sort of truth that is universal and timeless, is that the more Wysiwig you are, the more you live as the pure light you were created to be. Transparency is crucial to being a true winner and living in a win-win mentality. The key to building effective relationships is to put ourselves into those relationships, because they aren't built on what we say to other people, or even what we do for them. And this goes for a personal, intimate relationship as well as for business relationships and friendships. Solid relationships are built by putting solid character into them. Another great old saying that I live by is that no matter where you go, there you are. At this given moment, as you listen to this podcast or read it on my blog, you can't escape the fact that everything you are is sitting with you. When we become Wysiwig people, we come to terms with that. We accept that we are that entire person, and we trust that that entire person sitting right here in this moment is enough, and it is what people need to get when they see us. Of course, we need to have the wisdom to realize that the details of who we fully are shared on a need-to-know basis, and few people will have a so-called security clearance to know a lot of it, but the whole world can know your nature. In fact, more people probably already know your true nature right now than you realize. What you do speaks so loudly that people don't always hear what you say. Being a Wysiwig person matches our mouths to our feet and empowers us to live out the unmovable fortress that lies within. If we goof up, own it. Deal with it. Move on. When we win, accept it with humility. Letting other people get exactly what they see in us empowers us to trust that all of creation is conspiring in our favor. Do that and trust that the universe always has your back. Stephen Covey said, "You can't talk your way out of problems, you behave yourself into."
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold-Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.